Chapter 54. Breaking the Restraints. Thinking of zombies, Kang Chon's heart cannot help but beat the drum. If there is really a zombie in the blood coffin, then he will have to feed the zombie. With an incomparably nervous mood, Kang Chon slowly walked more than 10 steps to be close to the blood coffin. When 100 paces, the body was violently shocked, as if knocked down. An invisible wall was shocked back. Along with the body was shocked back, the entire pool rose a light white halo, like ripples in the water. Towards the surroundings scattered out, a flash. If not, Kang Chon is close. Almost thought it was an illusion. What a powerful prohibition. It even hid it from me. This must have been set up by an expert. A flash of light shone in Emperor Dan's eyes, a flash of surprise appearing in his complexion. A forbidden system. What kind of forbidden system? Kang Chon was puzzled. Right at this moment, from the hazy white mist not far away, two dark black rays of light suddenly shot out, passing through the layers of white mist and landing on Kang Chon's body. In an instant, Kang Chon's entire body was like being struck by lightning. His hair fiercely stood up by the roots, and a feeling of extreme crisis steeply surged in the bottom of his heart. "Be careful," Emperor Dan shouted. As soon as his words fell, he saw an unrivaled sword aura splitting out from the white mist towards Kang Chon as he slashed his head. This blade was strangely fast and majestic, with an aura that when a blade came out, the heavens and earth would be shocked. "Jonna Z." Wong Tixiong and Little Gold both exclaimed, shocked by this sudden scene. Fortunately, Kang Chon was already on guard, and with the Dan Emperor's reminder, he immediately reacted, and his whole body's true chi spewed out for no money, resembling a monstrous river, rushing out, constructing a line of defense on the surface of his body. At the time when he was ready to defend, the dreadful blade had already approached. The compelling aura was frightening, and the rushing energy fluctuation was like a mighty river. The sound was extremely appalling. Without the slightest accident, Kang Chon was sent flying by this sudden blade, and the sharp blade shattered his protective true chi, directly hitting his physical body. However, his fleshly body was strong, and this strike did not injure him. He jumped up violently and looked ahead intently. In the hazy white mist, a tall black shadow slowly walked. Although the other party did not speak, an incomparably powerful might had already come over him. This was undoubtedly an overwhelmingly strong person. When the black shadow passed through the layers of white mist, Kang Chon was stunned, and Wong Tixiong and Xiaojin on the side were also stunned. It was an iron-armored puppet, whose entire body was made of unknown black iron, and it held a long black sword in its hand, its light flickering between the white mist. The pair of eyes that were as dark as pitch black were even transmitting a heart, palpitating cold electricity, and a morose killing aura was revealed without a doubt. "Puppet!" Kang Chon and Wong Tixiong exclaimed in unison. This enemy that had suddenly appeared was actually a powerful puppeteer. In the cultivation world, only some superb masters of formations could refine some powerful puppets for use in imperial attacks. This puppet in front of him was undoubtedly very powerful, and although it walked calmly, it gave off a feeling of an impending storm, transmitting a suffocating oppressive force. Swish, the puppet steeply disappeared, leaving a residual shadow in its place, instantly appearing in front of Kang Chon, fiercely slashing out with a sword. A shocking sword aura ***** came out. The rushing true chi was like a huge wave in the sea, surging and heaving. Kang Chon's eyes condensed, his eyes burst out with a shocking battle intent. He shouted, "Let Grandpa and Xiaojin back off." He himself transformed into a ray of light to meet up, raising his fist to strike a fierce overlord fist. Both sides went back and forth, battling against each other for hundreds of rounds in an instant. Each strike was shocking. Watching from afar, Wong Tixiong was horrified. He was very surprised at the puppet's strength, and was even more shocked at Kang Chon's strength. To Wong Tixiong's eyesight, This puppet's strength is several times more than him. Almost infinitely close to the Jidan stage powerhouse, but Kang Chon can fight with it for hundreds of rounds without losing. Its strength can be imagined. Old, really old. Wang Tixiong sighed in his heart, both to Kang Chon's relief, but also some feelings. The Yangtze River waves pushed forward. Between thoughts, the battle in the field was getting more and more intense. The true chi collision between the two sides shook the entire pool. Countless waves of water rose to the sky as if it was raining. Elder Dan, what kind of puppet is this? Why is it so strong? Kang Chon and the puppet fought for thousands of rounds and were still evenly matched. He couldn't help but inquire in his heart. To know, his current strength far exceeded a peak 9th level foundation establishment powerhouse like Wang Tixiong, and was already infinitely close to the Jidan stage. But this puppet was able to be on par with him. It had to be surprising. Kid, this is a Yuanying level puppet. If it wasn't for the fact that it was about to run out of energy, a single finger would be able to exterminate you, Emperor Dan said with a smile. What? Yuanying level? Kang Chon shivered at the words, revealing a crack, which was immediately discovered by the puppet and slashed away. Rumble. Kang Chon was slammed into the stone wall by the huge force of the blade, raising a deafening sound. Wang Tixiong and Xiao Jin both looked nervously, but found Kang Chon walking out of the smoke intact. Seek death. Kang Chon was completely enraged, his palm clenched in the air, and a huge palm came out horizontally, suppressing down towards the puppet. Heaven escaping hand. The puppet seemed to sense a crisis. The huge palm pressing down above its head made it feel a terrifying oppression. It hurriedly fled in all directions, but unfortunately, the huge palm always followed it, and finally pressed down. Hee. This heaven-tackling hand really can't be beat. Kang Chon revealed an excited smile at the sight. This heaven-tackling hand became more and more powerful as his cultivation increased. Boom! The gigantic palm came down with a roar, shaking up a wave of water, and the puppet was directly crushed to the ground, unable to move. Although it kept struggling, it couldn't escape from the heaven-escaping hand. Half a second later, the puppet finally stopped struggling, and the black light in its eyes gradually dimmed, leaving only a hollow sound. All right, kid, its energy is completely depleted. Emperor Dan's voice resounded in his mind. Kang Chon dispersed his heaven-escaping hand upon hearing this and fished the puppet out of the pool. And he suddenly realized that the puppet's body wasn't even the slightest bit ruined. It had to be said that this was a very powerful puppet. Even without energy, the hard body made people helpless. Not far away, Wang Tixiong and Xiao Jin also gathered over, and the two of them later studied this puppet. In the underground mysterious cave, the two men and a monkey studied the puppet that suddenly appeared in front of them. They found that this puppet's body was very strong, even if a Jidan stage powerhouse was difficult to destroy. It could be called an indestructible body. Kang Chon only found out at this moment why so many attacks just now were useless against this puppet. It turned out that the other party's defense was invincible, and the only way to defeat it was to exhaust its energy with the heaven-escaping hand. They continued to study this puppet, suddenly found a button in the back of its head. Kang Chon gently pressed it, and suddenly the whole head split in half, scaring them. Huh, what is this? Kang Chon found a blood-red crystal at the back of the puppet's head. There were 9 grooves around each of the crystals, and there was some spirit stone powder in the grooves. This is the blood spirit crystal, an essential item for refining the puppet. It is also what controls the puppet's operation. The grooves around it are where the spirit stones are placed, and only 9 extremely high-quality spirit stones can bring out the strongest power of this puppet, Emperor Dan explained. Hiss. Kang Chon sucked in a mouthful of cool air when he heard this. 9 extreme-grade spirit stones. What a great stroke. One must know that extreme-grade spirit stones were very rare. Each one was a treasure of great value. Even if the entire heavy iron city was sold, it would not be worth one extreme grade spirit stone. Or Kang Chon had thought that he had taken in this puppet and would have a free fighter in the future. But he didn't think that this fighter's commission was so expensive, he couldn't afford to hire one even if he dumped his family's money into his pocket. He couldn't help but feel depressed in his heart. Dan Emperor seemed to know Kang Chon's mind, smiled and said, "Kid, you don't have an extreme spirit stone. It's fine to use a top grade spirit stone. According to the old man's vision, this puppet should be able to exert the strength of the peak of the Jidan stage if it uses 9 top grade spirit stones, and if it's a middle grade spirit stone, it should be able to exert the strength of the early Jidan stage, HMM." Kang Chon's eyes lit up when he heard this, but they immediately dimmed, and he smiled bitterly. "I don't even have any mid-grade spirit stones at the moment, only lower-grade spirit stones. Lower-grade spirit stones can only bring out the strength of the foundation establishment stage. They are of no use to you." Emperor Dan shook his head, and then said, "Put it away for now. When you worship the Heavenly Tao sect in the future, you can completely earn spirit stones with your own skills." HMM. Kang Chon nodded, and then dragged the puppet outside to the cave, although he could put the puppet away in the reverse heavenly cauldron. But in front of Grandpa, he was not in a good position to expose it right now. In fact, Kang Chon probably didn't know that his grandpa Wang Tixiong was already suspicious of him. After all, his own grandson had suddenly exploded with a shocking talent and an unknown aptitude, such as the heaven escaping hand. It was impossible for Wang Tixiong not to be suspicious even if he wanted to be. However, Wang Tixiong did not ask Kang Chon. He felt that since his grandson had already grown up, there was no need for him to worry. After placing the puppet, Kang Chon began to continue to salivate over the fruit of Earth Yin in the pool. He felt that his current hope could only rely on this fruit. Once he took it, his strength would be able to defeat Lin Beishan. More importantly, with this fruit, his grandfather would also be able to break through the Jidan stage, or even the Yuanying stage. Kang Chon thought in his heart that since the heavens had allowed him to come across the fruit of earthly yin at this time, if he didn't take it, then he should really be struck by heavenly thunder. Wang Tixiong was also very curious about the prohibition in the pool. He said to Kang Chon, "Chona, Grandpa had heard from the city lord that only experts above the Yuanying stage can set up a prohibition. I'm afraid that we can only look at this spirit tree. I'm sure that the senior who originally patronized this place can't do anything about it either." Wang Tixiong's last sentence is only right. When that first discovered this place of cultivation master is also to this forbidden system can do nothing, which gave up. However, when he left, he had set up the 5 elements misty trail formation in the stone cave to conceal this underground cave. "Grandpa, you go out and cultivate first. I'll study on my own. I have nothing to do in my spare time anyway." Kang Chon sniffed and said, of course, he was actually asking Dan Wang what methods he had to break this forbidden system. Wang Tixiong nodded at his words and greeted Xiaojin as he went out, leaving Kang Chon alone to study the mysterious prohibition in this pool. After Wang Tixiong left, Kang Chon experimented with a few more impacts, and he found that this prohibition had no attack power, only defense. The more power he attacked, the greater the force of the recoil. In short, he was unable to take another step forward. "Elder Dan, what kind of prohibition is this? It's so powerful," Kang Chon said in a depressed manner, clearly looking at the extremely high-grade spiritual essence right in front of his eyes. But he couldn't get it. There was nothing more cruel than this. Emperor Dan shook his head and said, "The old man is an alchemist, not a formation master, and is rarely involved in prohibitions. But this prohibition is indeed powerful. Not to mention you, kid, even the old man in his heyday couldn't break it. Which I'd better get the hell out of here." Kang Chon was dumbfounded when he heard this. How powerful was Dan Huang in his heyday? The entire Flood continent can't find a few strong people like him. He can't even break this prohibition. Is this cultivation, or how far away he can go?